call the special meeting for the corporation of the town of Cobalt on May 6, 2025 to order at 6 p.m. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. None? Okay. 3, adoption of meeting agenda, draft motion. Be it resolved that council approve the agenda of the special meeting dated May 6, 2025 as presented. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Lafleur and Councillor Wilcox. All in favor? Carry. 4, business. 4.1, presentation and review of 2025 capital budget. I would just like to state before the presentation that the budget committee and staff has worked really hard. They've gone over the numbers numerous times. I've sat with in on a couple of budget meetings. We have tightened our belts to the point where we can't tighten them anymore to try and do what we can. And I think they struck a very good budget considering the rise of costs that we're facing. So, and I'd like to say thank you to the committee and to staff. And I believe Steve and Cassandra are going to present the budget. Yeah.
I'll just be in front of council. Good evening, council. First, I would also like to thank the budget committee, as well as all staff, office, and public works for their hard work. I just want to refresh council's memory over the last 2 budgets we had. Very tough times. In 2023, we had a 12% increase in the tax levy, an 8% in water capital and water operating. Last year, for 2024, we had a 13.5% tax levy, as well as an 8% water operating. And I do know, like for last year, the Fire Museum too, we had to budget for that. But like our auditors said last week to all of council, and also what the ministry spoke to council about, a budget is your best educated guess. And that's what we're working with here right now. So let's bring up the 2025 capital budget. Just get you to increase that there, John.
Yeah.
I'll just get you enlarge it.
Yeah, make it a little bit better.
Yeah. Oh, and also before I begin, I just want to take a little note of what Campbell Blair spoke to council about last year. Our 2023 actual deficit was 400,835. And we brought that down considerably. Considering our budget last year was having a deficit of 37,500, we had a $40,000 deficit. So we're only off by a few thousand. Just want council to remember that. All right, for our capital projects this year. Last year, the columbarium was completed, as well as a theater marquee removal. But we're still looking at a scale down, as well as the head frame across the way here. And I just want to mention again, where we're getting the funds from here is the gas tax, which is your Canada Community Building Fund, OSIF, which is your Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund, and NORIS, Northern Ontario Resource Development Support. So also one request that did come in and it was denied was for the new garage spray insulation. So we're putting that off till next year, just again, due to a tight budget. Last week, discussion and approval for a used trackless. Also removed from capital, which had to go in last year, was the 2022 Ford F550, because that now moves into the operational costs for payments. In the sewer department, we are looking at the wetlands here, a simulative capacity study ongoing, as well as a flow meter by Aqua at a cost of 80,000, ECA from Aqua, 50,000, and these are director's orders. The sanitary storm water ECA, CLI ECA was completed last year for 9,500, as well as upgrade to the wetlands isolation valves, the sludge removal at a total of 83,789, valve replacement 61,564.80, and bypass sampling at 3,000. Next, for the water department is continuing our engineering for the valves and that. We put $10,000 aside for that, as well as our service line upgrades, 50,000. We're anticipating upgrading 4 service lines this year. A new project on here is upgrade to the water plant drive effluent valves project for 38,432.91. Also for Nords, we're going to continue paving at a cost of $73,010. Our official plan that we're just waiting for ministry, our planner is still in communicating with them. We have 1,000 aside for that. The tech park landscaping was completed last year, and also we did purchase the 2024 fire truck, and those costs have now moved into operational. So our total expenses for capital projects sit at $360,442.91. And our revenues that we got funding for: gas tax, $112,432.91, OSIF for $125,000, Nords $73,010, as well as what we put aside for a loan for the track was 50,000. So our revenues then equal 360,442.91. So that is our capital.
So by the looks of it, the taxpayers are only really on the hook at all that just for the 50 grand.
Yes, from capital. Everything else is fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
How often do we do the sludge removal?
Sludge removal, we do it once year and a half. So we're going to projecting because we're going to try and do it later, if not, well, beginning next year, as we did this year. So right now, with the new valves, Aqua is also checking it out. It's working very well.
Yeah, for gas tax and OSIF and Nords, is there any money that we haven't projected using? That'll be left for this year?
Well, what we still have remaining for gas tax is 77,836.72. And also for OSIF, 242,706.51. Those are going to be carry over into 2026. So
That's good.
and for Nords, 0.
And the reason there's money left over is because there's certain things we can't use it for.
Yeah, these projects are ongoing. Yeah, it has to go for specific projects and that. So if something does come up there, we put in the application to the funder. If approved, we could use some of those funds. So you don't want to use all of
Everything,
it,
yeah.
everything, because if something comes about, that's a necessity and they approve it, there's no funds.
Mhm.
Oh, I will ask, I'll bring this up to council for resolution for the capital budget if council would like to accept it. We just did that. We just, that was all capital.
Council a few minutes to digest all the numbers they're looking at. Are we ready to, or do we, gonna pass a resolution and accept their capital budget? Okay. Be it resolved that at a special meeting of May 6, 2025, council reviewed the 2025 capital budget summary as presented. And whereas, after discussion, council approved the 2025 capital budget in the amount of $360,442.91. And further, that staff be directed to prepare the necessary bylaws. Okay, and we'll do a recorded vote. Councillor Anderson,
Yes.
Councillor Hughes,
Yes.
Councillor Hunter is absent. Councillor LaFleur,
Yes.
Councillor Starchuck,
Yes.
Councillor Wilcox. Mayor Adson, 4. 5, 6 of 4 and 1 absent. Carried. Four point two, presentation and review of the 2025 operating model. And again, I would just like to remind everybody, we've had some tight budgets, but we are slowly moving in the right direction and reducing our deficit as fast as we possibly can.
My apologies.
Just want to refresh council's mind here. MPAC is still frozen from the 2020 or 2016 valuations right now. So just want to remember council that, please. With this operating budget, we also got to look at our loan payments. Our 2025 annual loan payments equal 160,977. For the F-150, our loan is till 2026. The F-550, we're paying till 2029. The loader, 2030. The trackless will be till between 2026, 2030. The garage, we're tied in till 2041, and the fire truck, 2044. Also, when doing this here, we came across a 1% tax increase will equal $8,162 in additional tax revenue for the municipality. From our recommendations that we did in 2023, we're still going to complete a municipal service delivery review, implement a level of service bylaw, investigate options for our Sharp Lake property, as well as review all vacant town lots, declare surplus and sell. That's been ongoing. Well, recommendations for 2025 are assessed at 2023 recommendations. Possibly council could look at beside us or underneath us 18B Silver Street, options for that vacant space. Leases need to be on a cost recovery and revenue generating. Include an allocation.
In here, sorry, I lost you.
Recommendations for 2025. The operations.
The blue through this first page already?
I'll be going back to that.
Okay.
I unfortunately don't have that page.
The back of the first page. Yeah, the back of the first page.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be going right there.
It's on a regional basis.
I reviewed it with the budget committee, so I guess I didn't need to know.
For our revenue sources, we have taxation, water, sewer, OPP, and user fees, which includes license, permits, planning, waste management, and other includes fines, provincial offenses, and a sale of land material, rents and leases, and we have our grants, OMPF, which will be 915,900, an increase of 16,600 from 2024. And OHFC, which is 21,500. We were approved for 2 students this year. And they will be paying 50% of the wages. So that's Canada Summers Jobs. And we got the grant for Canada Day for $1,670. Going through, and I'll go into more detail here, our revenue, 2025 revenue estimates, general government, 2,135,796. Transportation, 10,220. Health and social, 14,240. Planning, 2,800. Protection to persons and property, 464,589, and environmental, 685,452.
What breaks down under the protection and to persons and property? What is that? What's included in that category? Revenue.
So now we're looking at the 2025 expenditure estimates. General government, 642,497. The key ones in there will be our reduction to deficit, 15,000. We're also getting 90% funded for our intern. We still have to pay 21,500. The Fraser, the operating expenses there are 62,900. Also for Fraser management caretaker services, 18,500, and also for audit. So also included is our insurance for all departments, 148,654. Our 2024 actual was 131,552, and we're expecting an approximate 13% increase. Insurance has been increasing dramatically over the last few years.
It never goes down.
No. If we look at,
Sorry, buddy. Is this a question answer type thing as well right now, or do I wait to the end? Okay, Fraser operating expenses, 62,000. Is there anything that we collect back from that, like a rent, stuff like that?
Yeah, that was,
That 62?
mentioned earlier as our revenue.
In the revenue?
Yeah.
Under what?
Like, for our portion, and then there's also DSAP. Like, for our transportation, we're looking at a cost of $811,147. Items in there. Key are garage, our payment there, as well as transit services. And transit services, we put 93,755, but that includes a shortfall of an estimate of 11,000 this year for 2024.
But we won't get the bill for that till 2025, correct? Okay, so it's a 2024 shortfall.
For our health and social, 271.26. Key ones there are our fixed contract with DSAB, $204,070. And the health unit for 59,989.
Contract with the health unit for?
Pardon?
Contract with the health unit for? For what services? I'm just curious.
For recreation and culture, including here are for the 2 summer students. I did a celebration. Another one here is for the Cobalt Public Library operating grant. We have put in $5,000. We review this over and over and over. But that $5,000 doesn't include the services that the town provides, like including public works, like doing some maintenance jobs there, as well as doing the shoveling and that. That's not included in the $5,000 cost.
And I'd just like to point out the library was in a very good starting financial position at the beginning of the year. As well as we heard from our auditors, they have a reserve. We don't have reserves. So we're just kind of, if we're tightening our belts, we're kind of asking everybody else to kind of tighten theirs a little as well.
Next will be our planning. And under planning, we have 8,966, and this is really 2 asset management licenses for $4,000. And a contract for our planner. This is for Jennifer Pye. That's $2,544.
Okay, I only got 2 numbers, 4,000 and 2,000. You said 8,000? Am I missing something on this page?
They're just our key things.
Yeah.
If you actually look at the budget here,
Large budget.
the large budget, it'll
Yeah.
have a breakdown of per line item.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right.
So in addition to those 2 items, they're also anticipating about $2,300 in planning fees as well.
Okay.
So it's kind of an in and out because we'll collect it and then we hand it off.
All right.
Now, protection to persons and property. For a lot of these costs here, we don't really have too much input on. First of all, for the 2024 pumper, we're paying $45,875.98 this year. We also have a contract with the GMSA, contract with the Crossing Guard, Animal Control, Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan, for fire dispatch, our bylaw officer, and then the big one, the OPP. And the OPP one here is $445,901. Do want to remind council, this was a lot higher a few months ago before John Bantoff went and questioned Parliament about these costs. Meetings that were set up for council or for administrators got canceled a couple days prior due to the pushback. And then we received reduced amounts, but this is still higher than last year. Or yeah, we have an increase of $36,140 for 2024.
This seems to have gone up in the last 2 years, about 100,000, 110,000, give or take. Well, 100, and let's say 90,000. So it was about 365 or so, 2 years ago.
Can I suggest council actually look on their large budget sheet? Because you can see what it was last year and what it is this year.
Just to give council an idea, our costing statement, OPP costing statements for 2020 was $378,263. We're at $445,901. So it's been increasing every year, and we saw what they anticipated to actually be for 2025 and then pulled that number back.
I know one of the reasons for the large increase that we got hit with was they were without a contract for a lot of years. So the contract was settled. So as we know, when contracts settled, there's retros to be paid. And that got dispersed as part of that billing to all the municipalities.
And that will be environmental. 855, 939. The big one there, we anticipated this too, was the chemicals for water. Is including our contract with our ORO, and then you're looking at landfill fees are also in there. And they increased dramatically. 111,605, as well as our collection of garbage. But that being said, circular materials is now responsible for our recycling as of April 1st. So that will help us in those costs. So that is all the expenditures for 2025 for operating. So I want to remind council of a 1% tax rate increase is 8,162. So right now, if we took our revenue estimates of $3,254,303.38. Our expense estimates are at $3,313,096.87. So we're at a shortfall of $58,793. So the budget committee recommends an increase to the 2025 tax rate of 6.5% balance, as well as an increase of water of 10%. Therefore, our property assessment of $100,000 will see a tax increase for the year of approximately $247.62 or $20.64 monthly. And that also will include an OPP increase of $60 for our youth.
Oh, sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, for our property assessment of $100,000, we will see we're recommending a tax increase of approximately $247.62 for the year, or $20.64. That keeps all your current service. So tax levy increase based on that is $127.20. A water increase for the year $60.42, and the OPP increase $6. Therefore, it's $247.62.
I'd just like to point out to council that Cassie has the number of our balance of our water. I don't believe we have, are we in a shortfall in water?
Our reserve, we have $136.
Yeah, reserve for water.
That's why the increase of the 10%.
I was just clarifying the number you said, $247
$7.62 if you're
based on every $100,000
impact assessment.
It's $200,000, obviously. It's
Yeah.
double.
Not quite double, because your water and your OPP will stay the same.
Yeah,
It's
oh, I
just your
see.
levy
Yeah. So
portion.
it's just that part of it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I understand.
So that is what the budget committee has come to council with. A recommendation. Again, I'd like to thank the budget committee who have worked extremely hard on this. Again, with also staff input, office and public works. I asked everyone to tighten their belts, definitely for this budget. What we faced the last 2 years at 12% and a 13.5%. And that's why I wanted to bring it down as much as possible and to a 6.5% increase. Thank you. Any questions first of all?
There's no questions, but I just wanted to thank you to staff for doing a great job on this. They did the best they could. Lower it, I would like to see less percentage increase, but that's wishful thinking for myself. It's kind of a reality. That's good, thank you.
Like Cassie was saying about the our water, the deficit, it kept dropping from 286 from 2021 all the way down to 136 this at the end of 2024, which our auditor spoke to us about.
Our water surplus, you mean?
Yes. Went down quickly.
We're at the point where water user fees should pay for water, so.
And we will not be touching sewer. Just wanted to make that, we won't touch that at all.
Councillor Wilcox.
I'd just like to second Councillor Starchuk's observation. I think everyone in town is looking for something lower than a double-digit height. And, this is a good step forward that direction. And I think all of us would like to see it lower even yet, but one step at a time. But thank you.
This budget's good and everything, and everyone did a good job. But doesn't take into effect any cuts. Like we had talks about services cuts, like whether it's through our bylaws or our, contracts with them guys or the animals. And also transit, so. Like, I'd rather not charge the town 6.5% if we can get it down to 3% cuts.
Unfortunately,
I don't want them
that's,
to pay a year's extra money and then.
unfortunately,
Hit
that's,
pretty hard.
unfortunately, that's a lengthier process. So that's not something that's gonna come about overnight, because there's a lot of work to be done by all of council to do that service level review.
Again, this is, like the auditor said and the ministry said, the best educated guess to bring forward.
Of what we know at this point in time. Nobody has a crystal ball, unfortunately.
No. And I would like to get the budget for 2026 out early or late 2025, early 2026. That was the goal this year. So we're not so far into the year as we are here in May that we've done the last 4 to 5 years. So,
Yep. Sounds good.
Thanks to everyone for doing it. And I really wish that every one of our citizens could see the size of that budget binder every year to realize that this just isn't a number that pops into anyone's head along the way, what it takes to put together the budget. So
and honestly, I don't think that's
a lot of work
all
on
the
by
paperwork
staff.
that's required, because a lot of those are numbers that you're grabbing from.
Oh, I know. Mhm.
And it'd have to be doubled the size.
People just don't realize what it takes to come up with those numbers and how much it takes to wheedle down the dump here and $10 there and stuff like that to get the best number we can.
Well, if you see the size of one of these sheets with all of our budget numbers on it, there's a lot of research that goes into every line of
Every
this.
single line.
So. Okay, so I'm gonna do a resolution. Resolved at the special meeting of May 6, 2025, council reviewed the 2025 operational budget summary as presented. And whereas after discussion, council approved the 2025 budget in the amount of $3,673,540 with a 6.5% increase to taxes, plus 10% to water operating and 60 to OPP user fees. And further, that staff be directed to prepare the necessary bylaws. A recorded vote, Councillor Anderson. Councillor Hughes.
Against.
Councillor Hunter, absent. Councillor LaFleur.
Or
Councillor Starchuk.
Or
Councillor Wilcox. Mayor adds 4. 5, 4, 1 against, and 1 absent, carried. Five, adjourn. Last motion, be it resolved that the special meeting of council be adjourned at 6:35 PM. Mover and the seconder. Counselor Wilcox, Counselor Anderson, all in favor? Carried. Thank you, everybody. It's never an easy decision.
Oh.